met Adina. It was my agent rang me, and she said, "Listen, you're up for a part on a Romanian film to play the female lead." And I said to her, "You know, don't you think there's been some mistake?" And my agent burst out laughing, and she said, "Oh, that's exactly what I was thinking." Because I hadn't done any film I gave up acting actually for about 8 or 10 years, and I just started again. So I found it a bit surprising that someone had thought of me. So they wanted me to send some images of my recent work, which of course I didn't have. And the only thing I'd done wasn't released yet, so I wouldn't have had any images of that. And thank God I didn't, because it was a very kind of commercial comedy, which might not have enthused Adina. Anyway, and so I explained that I didn't have any images I could send, and so I was asked to do an exercise, which I think Adina would have asked anyway, but and I was given a few pages on the project, which I read, and then one morning I just kind of took out my camera and stuck it in front of me and did this improvisation without having realised that it was only meant to last a few minutes. And I think I probably spent about 5 minutes and just made sure it was in focus and didn't look at it and sent it off. And the next week I got this phone call saying, you know, "Are you free to go to Bucharest next week? It's really urgent. It's got to be very quick." Because there's one thing about Adina and the Romanian crew is that it's always last minute. It's always last minute, like this video was last minute. It's always so, I rushed on a plane, like a couple of days later, and went off and had this 4-hour interview with Adina, where she asked me lots of intimate questions and gave me some exercises to do and left me alone with the camera in the room. And I'd gone along thinking, you know, I'll just be myself as much as possible and really try and live the present moment rather than, you know, trying to please and be like this or be like that. Anyway, and it turns out that Adina had, you know, was working on this script, which she was beginning to shoot in a couple of weeks. And in the sort of outline skeleton of her exploration, let's say, it was, there's this character called Laura. She's called Laura Hoffman, and I'm called Laura Benson, but one day Adina introduced me as Laura Hoffman because she made a mistake. Anyway, so there's that kind of extraordinary thing is that, you know, that Laura was called Laura and that I'm called Laura. And it was really, you know, anyway, I did this meeting and like, I don't know, 10 days later, I got this email from Adina inviting me on board. And meanwhile, she sent me a film that she'd done called Don't Get Me Wrong, which I absolutely adored. And, you know, when I realised that Adina, this woman who'd made this film, wanted to work with me, I thought, wow, I really think she's this extraordinary artist. And I was so flattered and honoured and moved, and also it was just like this gift from the sky. It just sort of, you know, fell out of the blue. I just think how, you know, how lucky I am that someone actually thought of giving my name. So, and the memorable moments for me, I mean, one of them, there are lots. I mean, the whole thing was just extraordinary. You know, these wild, mad improvisations with these prostitutes. I mean, I never would have imagined doing that. But I think one moment I found really, really moving for me was which is in the film, which is when I suggest Adina takes my place. And for me, her accepting to switch places with me and to entrust me with that very delicate role of kind of opening her up in a way in front of the camera was such a kind of, it defined really how she works and how our relationship was. This, you know, this trust and this non-pyramidal way of working where, you know, we're working and collaborating together and not kind of obeying orders. And then another memorable moment for me was there was a scene which isn't in the film, but because there were some things which she had kind of decided she wanted before, and they were more difficult to shoot because she had a kind of idea, I suppose, in a way. And I could always see when Adina was happy because she had this incredible smile when the camera was cut, and she would suddenly appear with this, like a child who's just been given a bit of chocolate cake, you know. And when there were a couple of difficult moments before saying, you know, the camera's rolling, she would come and hold my hand. And it was a bit like school children, you know, best friends holding hands, and then she'd just kind of hold it tightly for a quick second, like,